as a Christian, and of course convinced and led to that line by his mother, his mother who led the whole family into Christianity. It is Good Morning Uganda, and I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Julie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm happy whenever it rains. The reason being that I'm sure that our farmers are going to be planting, because most of our agriculture is rain fall fed agriculture. So when it's raining, we know that our farmers are going to get some water in the soils and they will plant. And I want to urge our farmers, we have only 2 rain seasons. We're actually blessed. We have 2 rain seasons in Uganda, and we are now into our 2nd rainy season. So the earlier you commence planting, it will help you that by the time the season reaches a certain point, then at least your crops have developed to a certain, have grown to a certain level.
Right.
So I want to urge our farmers, please get seed. Meteorology department assured us of rainfall. So if you're not in Karamoja, then now is the time for you to plant. But away from that, there's a story that I was following up in Oyam district, where National Medical Authority was able, National Drug Authority, NDA, National Drug Authority, was able to recover drugs worth 70 million Uganda shillings. Now, government drugs, these hard ARVs, malaria drugs, mama kits. Now, it is these drugs that were sent to some hospital, and Ugandans go there and they are told that drugs are not there. But how these have gone so far, they are also now uncovering the drugs and repackaging them, or adding a cover, so you can't detect that they have government of Uganda. And people will continue to say, Marairo Teri Dagala. But what is also funny is when these people are arrested, and Julie, this beats my understanding, that the communities don't want them to be arrested. When a National Drug Authority officials come and round up a facility, the residents are like, muleko musawo waffe mutwala taina nsobi gy'akoze ffe atujjanjaba. But musawo wammwe has been found with government drugs. But the community, because they go there and they get quick treatment, would not want this person to be arrested. Now that is the dynamic in this situation. Why wouldn't people look at this person found with the government drugs with a lot of anger and almost want to lynch him, but feel he shouldn't be arrested because he's doing a good job? How best can you explain that? That this person has been found with government drugs, you'd be getting free of charge. But the surrounding community
that is the conundrum.
Feels is of help to them and they should not be arrested, and he's serving the community very well. That
is the paradox of what we call society. Anyway, Robert, looking at a few updates that we have this morning, Ambassador Olara Otunu was officially endorsed by President Yoweri Museveni yesterday, as the president presented him to Uganda's to members of state during a state house visit at Entebbe, members of the UN. That was yesterday. But also sad news, but also maybe you could call it closure. That's the High Court yesterday, Criminal Division Court, before Judge Alex Ajiji, convicted all 9 suspects in the murder case of Susan Magara. Remember that case of 2018? All 9 suspects were convicted, and they were convicted with a common intent that their aim was to acquire wealth. Can you imagine? But also,
because that was the motive. You know, in any case, motive is very important for any case when a judge is presiding over all investigations. That's why they always mention what is the motive. Those people, their motive was to get money. Things just turned the opposite way when they had to cut a finger, send it and all that. I don't want to go back. It's so painful.
Painful memories, And still staying in court, the Anti-Corruption Court has reserved September 9th, 2026 to rule the bail applications filed by former Parliament Director of Communications and Public Affairs, Chris Obore, and 6 co-accused facing charges of embezzlement and of course causing financial loss and money laundering arising from the alleged misappropriation of billions of shillings of Parliament. But still, staying with court, International War Crimes Division Court has had the first evidence in the in the case of General Edward Katumba Wamala, that is in the murder of his daughter Brenda Nantongo. This case, that was around COVID time, 1st June, around there, when this incident happened, was all over the news. Sad story there, intended to have murdered General Wamala Katumba, but unfortunately it's his daughter that paid the price for it. First evidence was heard from the general himself. That leads us to what we have on the local scene as updates this morning. But briefly, we also need to thank security because those shootings had become very rampant. Yes, they had. We would spend 2-3 months, bamukubye. So I want to commend security that for some good time, those shootings of prominent people have come to a halt. Yes, we want to commend them. I do agree with you. I do agree with you on that. So what do we have in the morning this as updates? Well, we begin with a national cleaning day. It left so many scars on the streets of Uganda. Now, this is our first story. Right. It has been a week since the national cleaning day exercise. Residents across Kampala cleared garbage from their homes and dumped it along the roadside. Piles of uncollected waste still litter several communities, raising concerns over public health and the effectiveness of the campaign. In Nsambia's Gogonya zone and Namuwongo, residents say they are stuck with piles of rotting waste outside their homes and businesses. Some residents have resorted to burning the garbage in an attempt to remove or reduce the heaps and the stench. With the rainy season fast approaching, many fear that decomposing waste could pollute the environment and trigger outbreaks of waterborne diseases. At Namuwongo, residents dumped garbage along the railway line for fear of cholera and dysentery outbreak. The LC1 chairperson of Gogonya's zone in Nsambya, Orlando Rutaya, said efforts to contract and contact KCCA garbage truck operators, only to be told that they are still prioritizing the evacuation of garbage from the city's main roads. National Drug Authority has recovered government medicines worth an estimated 70 million Uganda shillings during a major operation in Oyam district, led to the arrest of 7 suspects, including 4 government health workers. NDA said the suspects are accused of stealing medicines from public health facilities and attempting to conceal their origin by covering or removing government labels before illegally distributing them. The National Drug Authority conducted a targeted enforcement operation in Oyam district to recover government medicines that had been stolen from public health facilities and diverted into illegal markets. The operation recovered tens of thousands of doses of essential medicines, including antivirals, ARVs, malaria medicines, and maternal health kits, the Mama kits. Some of the stolen medicines had been hidden in dust bins in an apparent attempt to evade detection. NDA spokesperson said the theft of government medicines deprives patients of life-saving treatment and causes financial losses to government. The authority said intelligence reports indicated that some stolen ARVs from districts such as Oyam and Kisoro have been smuggled across Uganda's borders into Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan. NDA has called upon the public to remain vigilant and report any suspected theft or illegal sale of government medicines. The Directorate of Traffic Police have made mandatory checks of passenger buses' route charts to determine the distance each bus and driver can cover in a journey. Now, the Northern Uganda Bus and Truck Drivers Network wants government to allow access to cover a longer distance than that stipulated in the route chart. In a wake of major bus accidents that have led to the death of over 50 passengers in the last 2 months, traffic police have made it mandatory for all commuter buses to follow travel route charts.
This is intended to curb the main causes of bus accidents by allowing bus drivers and buses to rest before they make any further journey. The chairperson, Northern Uganda Bus and Truck Drivers Network, appealed to government to allow only the bus drivers rest. These believe that the main cause of bus accidents are underlined within management issues. The National Unity Platform welcomed back several of its supporters who had been released from prison after nearly 6 years in detention. The leader of opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, welcomed the former detainees and called for addressing treatment of detainees and human rights violations. The National Unity Platform headquarters at Makerere Kavule came alive with celebrations as party leaders and members and supporters received former detainees from prison after spending close to 6 years in custody. Among those welcomed were Yasini Sekitoreko, also known as Machete, Patrick Mwese, Shafik Kalanzi, Joseph Muonge, Abdallah Chintu Emma, Umar Kato, Musa Kavuma, Imen Galukande, and Abdarakim Gibusiwa. The former detainees expressed gratitude to Ugandans for their families and the National Unity Platform leadership for standing with them throughout their imprisonment. Leaders of the leader of opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, commended the former detainees for their courage and resilience, while urging President Museveni to address concerns over the treatment of detainees and allegations of human rights violation. Party Secretary General David Louis Rubongoya and National Mobilizer Habibu Wembo commended and commented on the local council one elections and other current political developments. Meanwhile, acting National Unity Platform President John Baptist Nambeshe thanked Ugandans who participated in the LC1 elections. Well, with that we come to the end of our local stories, but a very interesting story there, Julie, is what do we do with this garbage? The way weeks fly, soon we shall be in the last week of August.
Yes, yes.
And it seems we still have so much baggage and garbage to remove on our streets. Will we move swiftly?
And that also speaks into the management of garbage within our city, or anyway, in any.
But where had this garbage also been all along?
One would wonder, but who was collecting it in the first place?
Because if there was someone collecting it, collect it and take it where it was. So that means some of you are staying with your garbage in your homes, heaps and heaps.
Oh, wow. Anyways, let's fly to what we have on the global scene. And one thing for sure is one of the things that will be remembered when it comes to President Donald Trump's regime is the issue of taxes there. The taxes that he has imprinted on many countries. But 25 U.S. states sued President Donald Trump's administration on Monday over its latest tariffs, saying they were a pretext for replacing import taxes struck down by the Supreme Court in February. The United States imposed double-digit tariffs on 59 countries plus the European Union last month, accusing them of not doing enough to crack down on imports produced by forced labor. Now, the new tariffs took effect just as the clock ran out on temporary tariffs President Donald Trump had turned to after the Supreme Court defeat. After losing at the Supreme Court, said a New York Attorney General Letitia James. She said that the administration is once again trying to illegally raise taxes on families and businesses with a new round of tariffs. Therefore, the Attorney General is launching a new lawsuit. And she said despite losing every step of the way, Trump is trying yet again to inflict more on working families and homegrown businesses. That was added, rather, by Attorney General of Oregon, General Don Rayfield. Now, joining New York and Oregon in the legal action where the Democratic-led states of Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, Washington, and Wisconsin, plus Republican-led Nevada and Vermont, all of these states hopping on the wagon to sue President Donald Trump. Now let's move on to the issues regarding Moroccan king, the issues regarding the Ceuta crisis, that is the influx of immigration to Spain from Morocco. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has told Spain's Prime Minister that border security is a shared European responsibility and suggested Brussels could provide more assistance to Morocco. This comes as Spain tries to return the last of tens of thousands of people who swam around or otherwise breached the border to the North African exclave of Ceuta last week. European Union interior ministers will convene for an emergency video meeting today to discuss potential responses, and the scenes had led to friction between EU members and to Italy and France implementing temporary border controls, even though it's not possible to travel from Ceuta to the mainland without providing identification. Now, a quick look at what we have on the African scene. A letter from Morocco's King Mohammed VI has confirmed that the country has named a major highway after US President Donald Trump. Now, last week, in a social media post, Trump thanked the king for the honor, but there was not a parallel announcement from the Moroccan authorities. But Morocco's state press agency has published a letter the king wrote to the president telling him that the name change was taking place as a personal expression of my high regard. Imagine that, Robert. One of the streets or the highways in Uganda being named after a president of another country, especially one that is from the western side of the continent. But formerly, the road was called Tiznit Dakhla Highway, and it enters the Western Sahara, most of which Morocco occupies and claims sovereignty over. But part of it has been controlled by the Polisario Front and has now been named after Donald Trump, the President of the United States. That ends us with what we have on the foreign scene. A quick look at the headlines this morning with the dailies.
Well, we begin with the New Vision, where we have 93% of oil pipeline complete. Gino Katumba Amala gives emotional testimony, and President says torture hot parts of NRM ideology. Not, get me properly, President says torture not part of NRM ideology. That is President Museveni. And we see court convicts Magara murder suspects. Now in the New Vision, still we have so much for the totals for the young kids in there. But good news, court convicts Magara murder suspects. It's taken some good time.
Surely has, surely has. I think what has caught my attention there is the oil. The deadline was supposed to be July 2026.
Not for the pipeline.
Oh, not for the pipeline.
Yeah, now we are talking of the pipeline. The pipeline, 93% of oil pipeline is complete.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes it clear for me. I thought it was the first drop of oil. The deadline we had as July 2026, but was pushed ahead. Now let's look at the Citizen. The Citizen there, 1 trillion dream gets 24 pledges. Pardon me, it's $1 trillion. Dream gets 24 pledges. Want to know what that dream is? It's in the Citizen. But Africa on alert as strongest El Nino since 1950 looms. That means we be aware. What SS Continental Reset means for Tanzania. Another story too of interest to pay attention to. And horticulture players reject pesticide fears. Looking at the Daily Nation from Kenya, SHA Mestri Farm paid 1.2 billion shillings. That is in the Daily Nation. Also, another story to pay heed to, Uhuru's Azimio reaches out to Gachagua's Sifuna camps. And looking at matters health, breastfeeding without a baby to hold. Interesting. Looks like it's a conversation on breast pumps, breastfeeding pumps. Want to know more? You can get yourself a copy.
Breastfeeding without a baby
the
to hold.
Daily Nation. Do you know what that means?
The mother has no time.
Yes.
She's ever on the run, and I want to believe not parting, but making ends meet.
Yes, exactly.
And the good thing there is the baby is getting milk from the mother.
From the mother, yes.
What I detest is when the baby is not getting milk from the mother. Now these, you call them formula. Formula. Then some grow up taking goat milk, some taking you know those formulas. I don't trust exactly, not all of them.
Right.
But with the influx, you go to a supermarket and they are all brands. I hope our children will not one day be feeding on dog milk. In terms of formula, goat milk.
Kills imagination, and let's take a short break as I kill that imagination. We'll be back with another conversation, and this time round, indeed, looking at the LC2 elections. Do you even know your LC2 chairperson currently? These are things we're chewing on.
If LC1, some never knew. But Judy, also the celebrations for LC1, I don't understand them. In my village, we almost lost sleep.
Because of a celebration.
My God, the man slaughtered a cow, brought discos and people. Up to now, I'm asking myself. But this man had about 20 drones, following him, fuso trucks, music systems. Now he has killed a cow. He has people are drinking, eating.
Well, very soon.
Are we safe?
Very soon, you might as well be.
I hope land is not
in line
going to
pay
be
for
sold.
that money.
Because
anyways, let's have a short break. We'll be definitely right back. Just make sure that you save the number 0709 602 592. Also follow at UBC TV Uganda on X. That way, we are better off doing life together and having these conversations. Good morning.
Live from UBC
2026. We await and see. But also on a lighter note, the president of Uganda remembers his baptism in the month of August. Just looking at a bit of history, it's when a young Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was baptized, 3rd August to be particular, 1947. It's when he was baptized at St. Luke Church of Uganda in Chinoni, there, marking a number of years of him being a Christian and being baptized as a Christian, and of course convinced and led to that line by his mother, his mother who led the whole family into Christianity. It is Good Morning Uganda, and I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Julie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm happy whenever it rains. The reason being that I'm sure that our farmers are going to be planting, because most of our agriculture is rain fall fed agriculture. So when it's raining, we know that our farmers are going to get some water in the soils, and they will plant. And I want to urge our farmers, we have only 2 rain seasons. We're actually blessed. We have 2 rain seasons in Uganda, and we are now into our 2nd rainy season. So the earlier you commence planting, it will help you that by the time the season reaches a certain point, then at least your crops have developed to a certain, have grown to a certain level.
Right.
So I want to urge our farmers, please get seed. Meteorology department assured us of rainfall. So if you're not in Karamoja, then now is the time for you to plant. But away from that, there's a story that I was following up in Oyam district, where National Medical Authority was able, National Drug Authority, NDA, National Drug Authority, was able to recover drugs worth 70 million Uganda shillings. Now, government drugs, these hard ARVs, malaria drugs, mama kits. Now, it is these drugs that were sent to some hospital, and Ugandans go there and they are told that drugs are not there. But how these have gone so far, they are also now uncovering the drugs and repackaging them, or adding a cover, so you can't detect that they are government of Uganda. And people will continue to say Marai Roteri Dagala. But what is also funny is when these people are arrested, and Julie, this beats my understanding, that the communities don't want them to be arrested. When National Drug Authority officials come and round up a facility, the residents are like, muleko musawo waffe temutwala talina nsobi gy'akoze ffe atujjanjaba. But musawo wammwe has been found with government drugs. But the community, because they go there and they get quick treatment, would not want this person to be arrested. Now that is the dynamic in this situation. Why wouldn't people look at this person found with the government drugs with a lot of anger and almost want to lynch him, but feel he shouldn't be arrested because he's doing a good job? How best can you explain that? That this person has been found with government drugs, you'd be getting
1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. You are watching UBC TV. It's time for The Real. But if you are just joining us this cold morning, thank you so much for choosing UBC TV to start your day. And if you started the show with us, thank you so much for still allowing us to officially start your day. Always a pleasure and an honor to inspire Uganda. This morning, we are looking at the upcoming LC2 elections that are scheduled for 10th August 2026. That is elections at the parish level. We are throwing an insight into them, and we're having this conversation with the Right Honorable Richard Tudwong, who is the Secretary General of the NRM Party. My name is Julie F. Nantaba with Robert Chirabo Nyonyi Ntono. Now be part of the conversation. 0709-602-592 and at UBC TV Uganda, that is an X. The number is for you to send a WhatsApp message to. You share, how can political parties strengthen the capacity of LC leaders to deliver effective local governance? In your view, how do you think political parties are able to equip and empower strengthen their LC leaders to deliver effective local governance? Number displayed on your screen by WhatsApp and onto our X handle at UBC TV Uganda. Honorable, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
We're okay. How is UBC?
We are serving and inspiring Uganda.
Yes.
All right. Let's start off from the LC1 elections. How do you feel about the performance of the NRM party?
Maybe before I talk about the performance of the NRM party, I need to remind Ugandans that the ALC election is something extremely important. Important not only to NRM, but to the country. Because the ALCs are the last mile of leadership to the community, and they handle leadership at household level. And you find a cluster of households fall under a particular ALC1. And that is the most important thing. And it speaks to the truth that we understand each and every activity that takes place in a household through the LC level. When we were doing the campaigns, it was amazing. You go to a village, you find an LC1 having 2 books of records. The first book, he or she writes about activities of government in his village. What government has done in his village, the meeting he has attended, the training he has attended on behalf of the community, training on health, training on crime, training on environment, training on leadership, with so many organizations. They record them in their books. Then the second set of books you find an LC having is books on issues that have been brought to him by his people that he leads. And I found it very useful. And I always tell my leaders, especially the members of parliament, the LC5 chairmen and the councillors, that an LC record is like a laboratory report. If you want to go to a village and understand the issues in that village, you don't even need to call the whole assembly. Just call for the LC1 book. Read through the book. You'll see exactly what the village is facing. In other books, you find the rate of crime is high, burglary, theft, petty theft, drunkenness, domestic violence, all those kind of crimes are written in the book. And you can use that now to address issues in a particular village. So the issue of an LC1 is extremely important because it speaks volume to the right issues that the people in the particular village do face. Now, how did NRM perform? First, members should remember that LC1 is a creation of the National Resistance Movement ideology. In the 80s, when the struggle was going on, there was a need to create a resistance council that would ideologically orient the population towards a focus objective. And that was how the resistance councils were created, and that was how elections were created even within areas that were already secure during the war. And that speaks to the volume that the party thought it was important to bring the wananchi on the decision-making table. Initially, what we inherited, the governance structures we inherited from the colonial administration, was just they used to appoint leaders, governors from the center to the people. But through the resistance council structure, the people now elect their own representatives to come and be on the same decision-making table with those that were sent by central government to administer over their issues. And so that is where the mix is. And once you get that right, that means the leaders we elect at all levels must be leaders that understand why they're elected, how they should channel the people's concern to the authorities that are above them, and how they can work and coordinate with each other to make sure that leadership is a coordinated effort. And so because of that, our party performed so well. First, we understood the structure of elections and the way elections are conducted. When we carried out registration of our party members, we registered our party members per village. In NRM, we are working with 72,000 villages, but the National Electoral Commission and the Ministry of Local Government records about 71,000 villages. But that we know because there are other villages that were created and have not yet been coded by local government and by Electoral Commission. But for us in the party, we're already working with them. So when you see how elaborate it is, but the party was already prepared, because when we conduct the elections at village level and elected 30 leaders for the party at the village level, we knew these 30 leaders are going to be our mobilizers in those households. They're going to be our contact persons in those areas. And when these elections came, we were now using those leaders to do the mobilization. And indeed, it was very easy for us. Just to remind you that it was very, very, very contested in our primaries, the position of LC1 chairman. We conducted the primaries, people contested, they lined up. It was a rehearsal to us. And so we realized that we were going to win, because if you compare NRM with all other parties that we have, none of these parties, even combined, cannot match what we have done as NRM. So we prepared well, and because of that good preparation, we performed so well. Those who were elected directly under NRM card were to a level of 72%, but about 19% came as independent. But all of those independent are independent NRM members who were elected. So in short, the NRM alone got close to about 91% of the elections of LC1 positions.
Right.
So we are happy with the performance. That means we are at the grassroots, really.
All right. Are there any lessons you've carried from LC1 elections that you're taking to the LC2 elections?
Yes, there are quite a number of lessons. Some of the lessons emanate from the way. I also feel sorry for Electoral Commission because the area of coverage is so wide, and they may not have had enough manpower to do civic education, to run and teach their scouts at the village level on how to conduct these elections. Because when they were doing the register itself, the Electoral Commission register, it's like many people were not aware that the register was being, names were being put in the register for LC elections. Because when we did the mobilization for the voting, the people who turned up for voting were more than those who came for the registration to be put on the register. And that caused a problem because so many people were left out. They did not participate because their names did not appear in the Electoral Commission register. So that means next time we need to do more civic education to remind people about the registration for the village level. But good enough for us, since we already done that kind of exercise before at the village level, it was easier for us as a party to reactivate our structures to do the mobilization and to do the registration. The second thing is that lining up is a new form of election. It's like open balloting. You find people lining up behind their choices, and of course there are people still don't understand that this is not a war. If I don't support the person you support, we should not fight in the village. If you campaigned and I was your campaign's agent in the village and now I'm not lining for you, you don't fight me. So the issue of open lining, but even again within NRM we're already doing that. All our elections are through lining up, so we already practice this, and we have been sensitizing our members on the open methods of work as one of our pillar in the doctrine of the revolution. So for the population, to some of them it came as a shock that lining up is very complicated. They were saying, why don't you bring ballot paper so that we vote in secret? Why should someone know that I'm not voting for him? It will cause problem in the village. I said, no, a village is a place where you should be transparent and open to each other. You know each other, you know what the village wants. If someone is a drunkard, they cannot stop him from being your relative or your friend, but he or she cannot be a leader. You should know what is good for you and what is not good for you and make it open. And I think that is also some of the education measures we need to put to the people in the areas. And then of course there are these issues of security at the polling stations, because the polling stations are too many, and then therefore 71,000 polling stations, and therefore you may not have enough security in all the polling stations. And then other villages were conducting the elections at different time interval, because lining up requires that the country opens up at a particular time and ends at a particular time. That we line from 10 in the morning and close maybe by 2 in the afternoon. But you find other villages, elections continued up to 4 in the evening. Others started very early because of that kind of... So yes, there are quite a number of challenges, that, but the beginning is good. I think this is work in progress. With the time, I'm sure we're going to perfect this. And it's a very cheap way of election. The results are known there and then, and people get to know whom they've elected for, and that is it. It's very easy, very open and transparent.
Now, Honorable, let me begin by congratulating you as a Secretary General of NRM upon that win in the just concluded LC1 elections. But one of the observations that we noted are the wounds at village level. For example, I was at one polling station where almost all candidates were NRM. You had your flag bearer, there was one who was claiming PLU, there was another one also saying NRM but not. How are you going to heal these wounds amongst your supporters so that they don't affect you? We are aware of
that. That is why we got 19% of independent who are not flag bearers. Those independent members of NRM but decided to run against our NRM flag bearers. Of course, part of the problem was that we conducted our primaries very early. And we conducted these primaries very early because we were following the roadmap of the National Electoral Curriculum. But when the election of LCs were postponed, the postponement of election of LCs created us some bit of problem because we elected the flag bearers. Some of them were already in leadership of LC system, and because of that, they forgot that the election we carried out was just primary. They thought it was now final. So they started working as if they're doing the final preparation and the final work at the office, and that created a problem. In the north especially, some of them already created a problem in the cattle restocking that is going on. They were putting names of people who are not there, people who are relatives to them to benefit the program of PGM. Some were selecting their relatives, and that created problem for them. And that was how independent members came to contest against them in the village. You see, the villages are more transparent. I'm telling you, if you create a problem, they can remove you even in no minute. And so that created that kind of fracas. And where we saw people coming against the flag bearer, we realized that particular flag bearer could have had issues with the community. And we don't force, because this must be leaders that are going to be with the people at the grassroots. So we did not force anybody, but good enough, the majority who went through are NRM, and a few that went as independent are also NRM members. So we are peaceful at the 71% success, 91% success level rather.
Now, that said, Honorable, let's look at the LC2 elections. How prepared are you? How different are they from the just concluded LC1 elections? And what do you want your supporters to do?
Yes, for the LC2s, even for the Women Council, we were doing two elections at the same time. The LC1's election and the Women Council election. Then LC2s also at parish level for the Women Council. Now, these elections are like pyramid elections. You start from LC1, you move to LC2 as a college. Those that have been elected at LC1, they form electoral college for LC2 now. And that is why we are confident, because whoever is moving as a member of the college for the next layer is NRM. So it is going to be within the party sealed. Everybody that has been elected at the village is going to move at the LC2 level to elect the LC2 chairpersons. We have also done primaries already for LC2, because we could not do primaries because we did not know who the voters were going to be. But after the elections of LC1, we went ahead and conducted primaries, and now we have our flag bearers for LC2 elections in all the parishes of Uganda. We conducted elections in all the 10,000 so parishes of Uganda. And so we know who our flag bearers are, and on the right day they are going to be presented. We are now doing nomination. We are endorsing their forms, and they are being nominated by the National Electoral Commission. And so we shall have flag bearers that have been endorsed by the party and fully nominated by the Electoral Commission. And they will be presented on the 10th for election at the parish level. So we are prepared. We know this, and at the LC level that stops that. But after that, we are going to proceed with the Women Council election, which we shall proceed to elect them at sub-county level and also at district level, and they will come at the national level, where we shall conclude with electing the national leadership for the Women Council. So the party is prepared, and we are monitoring the electoral calendar very well.
All right, you are watching UBC TV. On Good Morning Uganda, it's time for The Real. And we're discussing, having an insight into the LC2 elections, but of course, getting to where we're coming from, the LC1 elections, to inform what might look like, what it might look like for the LC2 elections. Be part of the conversation, 0709 602 592. And we're asking for your opinion, really. How can political parties strengthen their leaders for effective local governance at the local council level? Do share your opinions to 0709 602 592 onto our X-handle at UBC TV Uganda, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Now, Honorable, allow me to get into some comments. We do have here someone who comes through. This is Kamoga Ronald from Chiumulo, Kasanda. He says LC1 elections were done, but we need more modifications because we are in the civilized world. No more lining up. Next time, let us use ballot papers. I am Kamoga Ronald from Chiumulo, Kasanda, pardon me. And David here says, good morning, Uganda. NRM still has a problem. You find a chairman of a part at a village supporting and campaigning for another candidate for another part. That is for another village. This is David, who shares this experience. Over to you, Honorable Todong. What do you have to say about these comments?
Thank you so much. About the two comments, the first one, yes, People still feel we should go by secret ballot because lining up now is an ancient way of doing things. But within NRM, that is how we do things. It's that open balloting. Transparency is very key. It saves a lot of time and a lot of resources. You want a leader, you pick a leader you want, and in the open, why do you hide? Because there are a lot of issues, of course, with the lining up, which needs a bit of perfecting. But to me, as an individual, at the lower level, it is easier and cheaper for the government and for the country that lining up is because if you go through secret ballot, you cannot print ballot papers for more than 70,000 candidates. Because you need, in a village, you might find you don't have only one person. You might have 3-4 candidates. That means you multiply that times 71,000. You end up printing ballot papers for close to almost 200,000 people. Well, that is really hectic. And you might end up mixing things and then putting wrong names in and so it is very, very, or you can decide that let's write names, and so there are people in the village who don't know how to read and write, and it becomes very hectic to the village. So we might get to secret ballot, but with the time. At the moment, the lower level election, we are better off by lining up because that is open, transparent, it's in the face of everybody. But I think with the time, we shall keep discussing that and see how we can improve the system. Now, on the indiscipline of our party leaders who support other leaders of other parties, we have been sending warnings to this kind of leaders for a long time. We have, it's against the constitution. Schedule 4 of our constitution is very clear about codes of conduct of party members. And some of them we have already asked to step down from offices if you're a leader and you're supporting independent, including those who are chairpersons of the party at the district level, at the sub-county level, those who are in council. We have really asked them to step aside from being leaders of the party, because that is not what leaders of the party should do. So in that particular case, if we have evidence and we have proper written report to that, we shall act immediately and we shall put that person to order. But the majority have understood, and the majority are really coming to terms with what the party needs and what it doesn't tolerate.
All right, Honorable, one of the things I have discovered for myself is the fact that many Ugandans don't even understand the importance of the LC2. Could you please educate us on what the importance of the LC2 chairperson is and the committee that serves with him or her?
Sure. Now, the LC, let me start with the LC1. LC1, like I said, handles clusters of households in a particular location. Now, LC2s now handles clusters of villages. You find 2, 3, 4 villages comes under one LC2. LC2 is the second layer of leadership. Now, what they do mainly, the court gives them powers of mediation. They have powers of listening to issues of land disputes. They have powers of adjudication to some level. So they are quite important, because at that level, land disputes can be handled, and any other major matter in a particular parish can be handled. And also, you know, at LC2 level, that is where parish development committees do sit. Now, the parish development committees handles development issues of a particular parish. They come up with a parish development plan, and that parish development plan is taken to the sub-counties for the sub-county to develop a sub-county development plan, and then from there it goes to the district, become the district development plan. So the lowest level of planning in government is at parish level, and that is why LC2s are very, very crucial, because they plan based on the interest of the parish, and the parish has clusters of villages within which it presides over. And so, yes, the LC1s handle micro issues at household level, but LC2s now handles governance issues, planning, mediation, adjudication, and a few of the issues that requires governance. So that is how it is.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable. It's been an honor speaking with you this morning. What are your parting shots as we look forward to the 10th of August? How should the general public participate or engage in this election?
One is that we are very happy with the support we are receiving from the population as a party. We are happy for the strategic and tactical guidance that is always given by our national chairman and the president of the Republic of Uganda. He has been the chief mobilizer in all these things because he has guided us tactically and strategically on how we should move and how we should inform the population on this major election. So we thank him so much. And then, of course, our party structures at all levels, from members of the Central Executive Committee, members of the Secretariat, the district leadership, the sub-county leadership, the parish leadership, up to the village leadership, the party is well mobilized because we follow the structures that exist in the party. Where there are disputes, where there are indiscipline of party members, please let us know and inform the head office. On the issue of LC2, we believe that again we are going to elect LC2s who are NRM members because we already have flag bearers, and these flag bearers are already in the parishes. We are endorsing their forms, and they are going to be nominated by Electoral Commission, and after nomination they will be presented to the parish assembly on the 10th where they will be elected. So we call upon those that form the college for the election, please make sure you are present on the electoral day, because this is now a college election, not the whole community. That college that comes from LC1 are the ones going to elect the LC2s. So make sure you're going to be there and make sure you participate and line by in our flag bearers at LC2 levels. But also don't forget that for the women, since the party has given ground for the ladies of the country, we also have elections of Women Council, which is still ongoing. We are going to elect them at parish level on the 7th, and then on the I think 28th or so, we are going to elect them at sub-county and district level going forward, and then they come to the national level around the 3rd and the 4th of September. So we know that we are going to elect these leaders, and that will be the end of the electoral cycle for this Kisanja. We thank you so much for supporting the party. Thank you so much for supporting NRM, and thank you so much for supporting all our flag bearers at all levels.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Richard Tudwong, NRM Secretary General, for your time this morning, and have the best part for the rest of your day. You are watching Good Morning Uganda. Thank you so much for viewing the show. Good Morning Uganda does continue, and up next we're having a conversation on using science kits to help learners grasp science subjects. 0709 602592. It's the WhatsApp number that you use to be part of it. Just stay tuned for the questions that you have to ask the guests that we have up next. Good morning.